scenes from the canyon, you know that probably the Grateful Dead maybe had some encounters with authorities that benefited them and maybe not the rest of us.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they'd be singing about this guy, because if you look it up yourself, and you're a private detective, so you would know that Stephen Gaskin was a CIA asset. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. They were the CIA asset, and the year before I was at, the CIA, crash pad. And, but, I thought it was funny, but I was like, didn't think much of it. But so we get up to Mendocino County in 1976. And this is why I'm agreeing, is because if there's anybody out there that has any insights on what was going on in Mendocino County or in San Francisco in 1976, I suspect that I was part of it. I have a lot of gaps in my memory from San Francisco, which is really very odd for me because I have this horribly acute memory. And so I was up in Mendocino County with these, and we were just in this house, this empty house in the middle of the woods. We're like sleeping in sleeping bags on the floor. And somehow I ended up down in San Francisco by myself, first I was living with a law student that was sitting for the bar and was being pestered by Stephen Weed. That's the Patty Hearst connection. She had just been found like a month before. And then when I met some other guy there that was a friend of his that was a psychologist, and he had me go live with him. And yes, I was sleeping with them both. They were both my boyfriends. They both didn't seem to have any problem with it. I was just doing my thing. I was free to travel all over San Francisco. I was 16. I was tramping all over San Francisco by myself, riding the trolleys and eating Glumpkies. I'm sure I had fun, but I just don't have any recollection of what I was even doing there. Like, why would I know? My mother didn't know I was in San Francisco. I think she thought I was on a nice school trip with my farm school.
Who was funding you on this San Francisco trip and paying for all these things?
So I had this psychologist got me a cleaning job at the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic.
Mm.
It was like $3 an hour or something. I don't know. And then I got this per diem. So, I was staying with these guys, so they sort of, paid for a little bit of that and that because I was a girl, and so you go out to eat and you pick up the check, and they were working men, they had money, and I would hitchhike on weekends and get my per diem, which was like maybe $50. And then sometimes I'd hitchhike back down, sometimes I'd grab a ride, and every now and then if I was feeling fantastic, I'd get a bus, pay for a bus, but most of the time I hitchhike.
But the school was the school was paying you a per diem, even though you weren't with the school.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. What about your parents? They thought you were still with the school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was another guy, too. He was like my gay husband in school. He was my best friend. He ended up, like, all these people died in these really violent, like, atrocious ways. He, like, fell out of a 5-story window naked, and was killed that way. And but he went down in San Francisco the same time I did, only he was staying in the Castro district because he was gay. And I remember because I was like short $5 and I actually went down to the Castro district thinking I could find him. Only a 16-year-old would think you could find someone there. I didn't.
Real quick, because we're running out of time. You said that a lot of the people you went to school with died in mysterious ways?
Well, awful ways.
Okay.
Like one guy dropped dead while he was like on stage performing. Another one drowned in a river in front of their daughter,
This was one of the adults. Later.
Yeah. Later. One of them, age 18, had a brain aneurysm, dropped. A couple of them were found face down in puddles of water. One of them, the one that I'm not sure he's even gone, honestly, if it's the way I think it is, maybe the one that was orchestrating that. Everyone gets very tearful and says it's their best friend in the world, and he had the same kind of brain tumor type Kennedy had, like this weird, rare one, and he died, they say, because he's the only one that would have any of these answers for me. Anybody that has an answer is already...
Let me ask you a question.
Or they won't tell me.
We got 4 minutes left. Is there anything I haven't asked you that's really important you want the audience to know?
Oh, boy.
Quickly.
I don't think so. I mean, I really don't think so at this point. Mostly what I would say to the audience is, if you know it's the other thing that was really sort of significant in San Francisco that time was that it's the only time it ever snowed when I was down there. Mm. And everyone was like outside, twirling around in the snow and saying, you don't understand. I'm like, well, I'm from back east. Snow's all, and they were saying, no. And I thought, well, it must have since then. And I looked it up and it never did. So I don't know what I don't know. It's so convoluted. I can't get to the truth. I have a better handle on what might have happened in, the other thing is I think I might have smuggled something over the border in Mexico, because that chaperone guy, we're getting ready to go back, and he handed me a package and said, I don't want to have to pay the tariffs on everything because I've got more than, you're permitted. So will you bring this over? And I said, yeah, sure. What is it? And he said, dolls. So I carried it over, and the guy said, what is it? And I said, because I forgot. And this guy said, weren't those dolls you were bringing? I said, oh, my dolls. Mm. So,
in the next minute, what do you want to leave us with?
Oh, dear. All I can say is, if you have any insight on why, if there was any weird little operation in San Francisco in the winter of 1976, maybe you could leave it in his comment section.
Yeah, if anybody wants to
call him and tell him.
Well, don't call me, but if anybody wants to follow up on this, you can send me an email or a message.
I mean, call. I meant sort of like.
I definitely don't need any more phone calls. But Ellen, thank you so much. Fascinating story here. I think there's a lot more. Let's throw the breadcrumbs out there and see who comes up with some more information. I can't thank you enough.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. This has been really fun.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so fascinating story here with Ellen, who's a longtime friend of mine on Facebook. I've known her for quite, and obviously some bizarre circumstances going on from early childhood. Yeah, it reminds me of another story. I've told little bits and dribs and drabs of it. It was in Pennsylvania. These kids would go on every year. There was a church group, okay, but they weren't part of the church. They went to a public school, and this local church group that was like Girl Scouts recruited these girls into this church Scouts group. They would take them to cave tours in Pennsylvania, and there was a visit to the cave tours. Half the class would go back to the bus, and certain kids were picked out that they were the best behaved, and they had a contest, like hygiene contest. They had the best hygiene and the best, behavior. And they went to go on a sleepover at this mansion. And when they got there were a whole bunch of girls. It was only girls, little girls at this mansion. And she says, too, that they would go in, and the adults at the mansion would be having, you could smell like turkey cooking and stuff like that, and roast beef and the meat cooking. And they would be taken up to a room with bunk beds where they were given peanut sandwiches. And they'd be smelling this great food, and they could smell the men smoking their pipes and their cigars and stuff like that. Like they would describe the smell. Fascinating. And she believed that she was being drugged up there and that they were being molested. And that some of the girls, too, because later on, some of the girls who were younger became like the camp counselor for this group. For stuff like that. And I have the whole thing all written down, but she would send me these emails. Fascinating story. And just came to my mind when I was talking to our guest here today. If you have any information on this, you can get a hold of me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. Also, too, we're in desperate need of financing right now, funding to keep the show on the air. And struggling with the finances all over the place. So if you want to make a donation, you can go to oppermanreport.com. There's a donate button over there, or join our members section. I have 2 new pieces of content going up in our members section at oppermanreport.com. It's $8 a month or $75 for the year. Thank you so much. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to sing a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.